Hey, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed part number 1 of this rusty old truck. Get ready to sit back and watch part number 2. I hope you're painting along at home. I hope yours looks better than mine. And, well, there's no sense waiting around. Let's get to it. Alright, we're back up and running now. So, I don't know where I was at. I think I was darkening up some stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come inside the cab of our truck here, and I'm going to darken that up. Just, you know, it's in the shade, in the shadow there. There's nothing we can see in there, so I'm just going to make that a nice dark color in there. There we go. This is just a mix of Payne's Gray and ultramarine. It's just a nice dark color there, and the Payne's Gray is going to dry pretty light. So I can put this on a little bit heavier. I don't need it to be like black dark inside there, but I just want it to be dark enough that we notice that it's in deep shadow in there. Trying to be a little bit careful just so I can mostly stay in the lines. Well, I say mostly because I'm never fully going to stay in the lines. And that's okay. You can paint around that mistake. There we go. So this nice darker tint, and if we need to, if it doesn't look quite dark enough when we're done with the rest of it of the truck, we can go back and we can darken that up a little bit. But we just want to make sure that that's in shadow, and the viewer knows that's in the shadow and that's inside that cab. I think it's looking really pretty good like that. So now we can get back to what we were doing before, which is going around everything that we see that needs to be darkened up and just giving it a little touch up. And this is the bulk of everything we're going to do here. Let's see, what color do I have on? I have this lighter color on here. So we can come in, and wherever we think there needs to be a little touch up, we can just put that on. You can blend that line out if you want. You can leave the line there. If you want a bit of a harder edge, that would be fine. If you think, let me see, I'm going to grab a little bit of this. If you think that whatever you're painting should have a little bit of highlight on it, we'll just paint around that part just ever so slightly. If you think it needs to be in shadow a little bit more, you can use the same color if you want, and you can just darken it a little bit. That would totally be fine. I'm going to darken that back there just a bit, and then I'm going to grab some of my blue and pull that out a little bit. And you can see on this one, I'm not totally matching the color that is behind it. At least I hope you can see that. I'm not totally matching the color that's behind it. I'm somewhat matching the color. I'm not too concerned about it. Because we know that colors vary, and a lot of the time if you put a lighter color, or not a lighter color is not what I meant to say, if you put a different color over the top of something and then you go back and look at it, a lot of the time you'll go, wow, you know what, those two colors, they're kind of working for me like that, and you end up with something neat that you didn't think you were going to have before. So you're going to have a, you know, kind of a happy accident there. I'm going to paint a little shadow inside this broken out light bulb. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing on this one too. There we go. Just some dark in there. Let's see. We can continue to go around, and everywhere we want to put, you know, shadow, we can just put in some color, or not necessarily even shadow. wherever we want to darken it up, like I said, we'll just put that on there. And a lot of the rest of the painting is just going to be fixing that up, filling that in. There we go. Look how good that's starting to look over there. So I'm going to put some of that. That side looks so good. I'm going to do some of that over here. I think just like that. There we go. And I'm going to darken up. Let's see. I'm going to darken up this side over here, which is a little bit more in shadow. Just so you need a little bit more of that. Did I get the? Am I using the right color there? Looks not right. That's okay. When we get done, we'll never know it wasn't supposed to be that way. Like I said, I always say that, and it's true. Unless you tell somebody that you wanted to do something different, nobody will ever know. So, you know, I guess the moral of the story is keep it to yourself and tell everybody you meant to do it. All right, maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not the best policy, but it's fun to do sometimes, is to let other people talk about what you're doing instead of just coming right out and telling them what you did or what you tried to do. And people will come up with all kinds of stuff about your artwork. Some of it really good. And then all you have to do is sit back and take a little credit for it. See, I'm going to put a little bit more blue down in the corner down here. This nice cerulean blue down here. I'm going to try to keep it away. excuse me. I'm going to try and keep it away from this wheel well, because I just painted that dark and I want to have a dark next to a light to kind of set that off. So if I just do a little bit in that corner right there, I think that'll work. Maybe I'll let that come up all the way up there. There we go. I think I'll do that. Again, I'm hoping you guys can see what I'm doing here. I have this pretty much right in the center. I think, I hope I do. I'm going to work around here. Underneath here, I know there's going to be a shadow underneath that hood, and I know there's going to be one under here like that. And I've just switched to my rigger brush to do this. If you've got a good pointed round brush, you could totally do this on your own. If you don't have a good pointed round like me, you're just using what you have here. Now these ones do come, I should say, this one comes to a pretty good point. Where's it at? You can see it comes to a pretty good point here. But it's easier, it's definitely easier if you use something that if you push a little too hard, it's not going to dig in quite so much. And the rigger gives you a lot of room to make some mistakes that you don't necessarily get with the round brush. You know, you know what I'm saying, right? The round brush, if you push too far, it's just going to dig right in. And the rigger, if you push too far, you've got a little bit of play, a little bit of leeway in there, so that it'll bend and probably won't get much fatter than what you want. Okay, I don't know what has happened to my little camera. It has blipped out. I have gone to a backup camera. We are going to finish this painting tonight. And with any luck, we're going to do it on this last charge here. And I apologize for that. I have no idea exactly what happened to that camera. I love that little camera. But something has gone on, and it is definitely not happy. Okay, so I'm looking at this. We got some good things going on. We need some help with a few other things. But the truck has right here a little line that in our drawing is nice and dark. I've left it light right now. I think we're going to have to fill that in before we can see what else we need to do on the body of that. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get my Payne's gray, and I'm going to mix a little bit of my olive green in with it so it's a nice dark green color. If we were to see through it, I think you'd be able to see some of the green behind it, but it is quite a dark line. So I just need to be real careful and draw that in. There we go, and it'll look like that hood is just cracked open that little bit. There we go. I think I've got a nice line right there, and that really makes that hood look nice, makes it stand out really nice. Alright, so the rest of what I'm doing is I'm just gonna darken some of these colors up. Like I said, wherever we think, or wherever I think on this one, wherever you think on yours, that we have just a little bit of darker color. I want you just to go back and put that on. See, I think I've got a little bit right in here. I'm going to use a little bit of gray up on the top up there. There we go, and I'm going to make my rust come all the way back to the hood. I know it seems to me as though I'm really just repeating myself here. I know a lot of my videos don't last long enough for me to repeat too many times, and that's probably good for everybody, but this one's a lot of detail work, more than some of the other ones, so it's going to be a little bit more of this detail. And if you're going to watch it, if you're going to see it, I mean, then we got to get it in there. There we go. I think it's looking good. I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna put a little bit of dark up on the top of my truck. I know it's not necessarily dark in our picture back there, but I think just at the top back here we need a little bit of something that's been sitting in the sun for a long time. So it needs to have the appropriate wear on that. There we go, and I can give a little bit of color splotch in there too, maybe something like that, and just kind of feather that out a little bit. Whoop, there we go. Let's see, maybe just a little bit of color over here. There we go. I think that looks better. We do need to darken this up a little bit. Add some more color to it. We don't want it to fade into the background and get lost back there. We want it to stand out. So that's what we're doing, is we're just making this thing stand out as best we can. Alright, I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow back here. Let's see, is that dry enough for me to touch? I know that's the wrong color blue. there's a little bit of shadow back here. Just a darker green, or darker blue really. And then I'm just going to pull it down. With really just all of our rust color. There we go. And I'm just going to darken some of this other one, this cross member here. Kind of like that. I'm going to put some blue, I'm going to get the proper blue this time. There we go. Put a little bit on the box back here, along with some of our rust. Just make that, hopefully that's going to fade off into the background. Back there, there we go. There's our square box, whatever that thing is. Got a little bit of extra rust. I'm going to put right down here on the side of that wheel tub. Going to let that blend in. I got to scrub that just a little bit. It went on a little thick. I should say, if you're looking for any of the I have two iron oxides. I have an orange iron oxide and a yellow iron oxide, and they both go on really chunky, I have to say. I'm not really a big fan of them. You got to really water them down if you ever end up buying them. That's one thing they could do better with those paints. And I'm using M-gram paints. For the most part, I like them quite a bit. But these particular ones give me fits. They come out totally, terribly chunky. Let's see, okay. Got that. I need to, let's see, I'm going to use my rigger here, and I'm going to mix up just a dark, it's going to be a mix mash of everything that's on my palette. My blues over here, the ultramarine, this one is, I dipped into, is turquoise that I didn't mean to. My green and gray mixture here. I'm going to use kind of a mix of all of these. And I'm going to draw in some lines on my radiator. There we go. And let's see. Of course, what I'm drawing is the negative. I'm painting the negative part of this. There we go. And just a couple of little dots. There's our radiator. That's, I don't want to put too much on there. I'm not worried about making them perfect. On here, I just want to give the indication of that radiator. It's there. I know it's there. You know it's there. We all see it. Let's just leave it be there and admire it from where we are. There we go. A little extra darkness there. There we go. I think that's good. We are ready to start putting on our middle ground in our foreground. Let me back that out just a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Okay, so I'm basically done with my blues and grays, I think. I need to work in some greens. I'm going to take this blue away. Then I can work at this end only with my greens. This is cobalt green, which is a lighter green here. I'm going to mix that with some of my yellow, and I think I will use, this is Hansa yellow, Let's see what we get. A nice kind of springy kind yellow. I'm just going to dull that down a little bit. There we go. Now I've got a yellow, kind of a yellow brown. It's a yellow green, but it's brighter than this one. If I need to brighten that up a little bit more, I can give it a little bit more of this yellow. But I think that's going to work out for me. Actually, maybe it's not. I'm just put on this little bit here, and it still looks a little too dark. Maybe, let me just see if I can keep that a little bit brighter over here. I'm going to use, you know what, I'm just going to use some gamboge here, and I'm going to put that on. I'm going to try to fill in my lines up here that I made by pulling the paint down. And I'm going to start with that on the top, and I'm going to leave that, and then I'm going to move to this. There we go, and hopefully that's going to look like the tops of these are poking out into the top up above us. There we go. Let's see. I was using cobalt green, so I'm going to use some more of that. Mix that in there along with my Hansa yellow. And I'm just going to draw that right along. I still got that one. There we go. And this is where I'm going to go right over the top of my wheels that I just let blend into nothing down here. And I can paint right over those at this point. Let's see, and I can put my green, a mix of these greens right in there. Just being real careful. I can pull these up just like some weeds back there. There they go. Put some green down here. Mix in some dark color. Maybe these ones here are just a little bit in shadow, so they're a little bit darker maybe. Mix in some darker flecks. Maybe some greener flecks here. And you can do this, you can get your paint thicker. You can use your paint a little bit thicker and put some of these in. And the more you do this, the more you put in these different colors in here, the more this is going to look real. There we go. I just got some little bit of grass growing out there behind this truck, some weeds and reeds and whatnot. Let's see, I can put some sap green in there. And on this side, that yellow is really going to set that off. There we go. Some that come up in front of that bumper. They don't all live just totally underneath that truck. Some of them come up in front. See, there they go. Just like that. And back to it over here. I'm going to use some more of my cobalt green, my Hansa yellow. Just get that nice color in there. Keep kind of that continuity going. Looks like I forgot to paint that hubcap. I'll do that real quick, just like that. Just drop a little bit of color on there. And right around this side with some green. And the same thing is over there. I'm just going to use a little bit of this color and I'm going to pull it up. I can use it pretty thick and it'll go on There's my sap green. It'll go on, and it won't spread out quite as much. It'll look more like there's some real weeds there. I'm going to do it in front of the wheel. And I can do that with this big brush because they're kind of in the back there. They're not sticking right out. We don't see everything of them. So what if they're bigger, if they're a little you know, less defined in shape, we can kind of get away with that. All right, in my foreground, I'm just going to mix some other colors here. A lot more. I'm using sap green, a little bit more here in the foreground. All right, that's a color we've used throughout here, so it's not too totally different. And I'm throwing in a little bit of ochre color just to add some interest. You could throw in some other colors. Actually, maybe I'll throw in a little bit of this rust color in there. But what we want to do is we just want to mix these colors up. We don't want this to be just one color up here because, you know, fields aren't just one color. They're all kinds of colors. And I think I'm going to take a little bit of a darker blue-green, and just underneath here I'm going to give just a little bit of color. I know I just went right over a couple of my weeds, but I think I want to put a little bit of color underneath there. And I'm going to have to go back and draw the weeds right back over top of it again. But that's fine. That's not a big deal. And you know what I'm going to do? Watch this. Haha! I'm going to pull out a fan brush, and I'm going to use my pen. I'm just going to dip it in my paint, pull it out. Oh, and I'm still a little damp over there, but a fan brush, if you get the right consistency of paint, you can paint a whole lot of weeds in a very short amount of time. Let's see if I can do this. Let me get some of this other kind of green and mix in there a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So I know that this is going to run and smear in here a little bit. Not smear, but it's why am I stuttering so much tonight? What you're going to have is it's not going to disperse quite as much, but it's still going to disperse because I'm using a little thicker color of or a little thicker mixture of paint here. And what's nice about this is you can go in a line like this right here, and you can totally define a little hill right there in the grass in no time at all. Boom, boom, boom. A couple of flicks and you've got it. And just like that, we've put our truck back deeper into our painting. And there you go, that's it. That's all I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to sign it right now. I think if I keep fiddling with it, it's just going to be fiddling. It's not going to bring a whole lot more to the party. So here it is. Here's my reference photo of my truck in the field. Here's what I did with it. I know I had a couple of technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging in there with me. I hope you enjoyed the painting. I love doing this one. I'm going to hope to do some more like this again. Thanks for hanging with me. I appreciate it. We'll see you later. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.